Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks here for our Week 3 Folly Row recap show. Jerel, a bit of an odd week. We had some games get moved to Thursday. Actually, quite a bit got moved to Thursday due to some potential weather we had across the state. But, man, glad to have you here with us again to break down another exciting week in South high school football.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Love when the weather kind of wreaks havoc a little bit, so we get more football. Obviously, getting to catch 2 games this week was fantastic. Glad that we got them all in. That was the main thing. I'm glad nothing got pushed until the weekend or anything like that. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Let's recap it, man.
If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. Website movinchains.com. That's MOVINCHAINS. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do a weekly preview show about 7:15 on Tuesdays on Facebook and YouTube. Love to have you guys tune in and join us on that. We do our recap show here that comes out on Sunday nights. We do Teams of the Week, Players of the Week, Games of the Week, coach interviews, lots of great stuff across all our platforms. Definitely tune in to those. Get your Moving the Chains merch. We've got hats, toboggans, T-shirts, hoodies, really good stuff. You can email us at mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. That's mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. Or you can just send us a note on Facebook, Twitter, whatever is better for you. Love to have you guys supporting us and wearing some of our stuff out at the ball games. But, Jerel, let's do a quick shout out to some friends of the program before we start breaking down our games from Week 3.
Set your kids up with a lifetime of financial success with Smart Start from Founders Federal Credit Union. Just like learning the rules of football, understanding money management is crucial. Our Smart Start products and educational resources help teach kids the basics of saving, budgeting, and smart spending. Give your young MVPs the skills they need to move the chains on their financial futures. Learn more at foundersfcu.com/smartstart. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Come for the deals and stay for the quality with Folly Row. From polos to Q-zips to hats and more, their moisture-wicking, quick-drying, and anti-wrinkle apparel is the perfect blend of comfort and fashion for game day. FollyRow.com and at Folly Row on social media. Folly Row. Very good polos.
Let's start with our Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, our Kona games of the week, Jerel.
Well, that first one is the game that we caught on Friday. We went down to the CSRA region of the state, and that was North Augusta and Strom Thurmond. Kevin, this game ended up being a 14-7 win for the Yellow Jackets. We saw a little bit of everything, some defense, offense, special teams impacting this game. It was low scoring. It was entertaining. I will say there was not as many points as I anticipated in this game, but nonetheless, North Augusta comes away with a hard-fought victory. I came away impressed with both teams. How about you?
Very interesting ball game for sure. Really, Strom Thurmond felt like they had a chance to just, take this kind of game by the throat early on. They get a 7-0 lead, have a couple turnovers from North Augusta, a fumbled kickoff and also a fumbled punt as well. Couldn't punch it in either time and just kind of let the Yellow Jackets hang around. They get a late score before the end of the half to tie it up, score there in the second half to win 14-7. A key for me is going to be the health of Corey Tillman and Michael Doe going forward. The quarterback receiver went down for North Augusta in the fourth quarter. Hopefully they're okay. Early reports are that it's going to be not too serious, so hopefully that is the case moving forward. But 2 electric playmakers they're really going to need. But, yeah, I was impressed with both teams. Both teams I thought really battled it and fought hard because it could have got out of hand, really both ways. It felt like at one point or another, and both teams kind of hung in there and put up a good fight. Strom Thurmond really impressive up front to me, I felt like, especially early on. They did a great job hanging tough with the bigger school there. And then North Augusta kind of sticking to the game plan and figured a couple things out and played really well on the defensive side. I thought they did a good job of kind of hemming in that Strom Thurmond run game for sure. So 2 teams I think can make a lot of noise in 2A and 4A, but a great atmosphere, great crowd on both sides, man. They always do a great job down there at the Peach Fields, but a great turnout from both fan bases as well.
Yeah, I think you're totally correct when it comes to North Augusta. The health of that backfield is really going to, make a difference on how this team goes forward because they really are going to rely on those guys. Strom Thurmond, I was so impressed with how well they played up front on both sides of the ball as well. You can just tell that they're trying to find some new playmakers, after losing, Tolan and
Staley.
Braylon Staley, excuse me. I don't know why I blanked on that. He should be playing for this high-power Tennessee team here shortly. But they definitely need some playmakers to step up, like what Simpkins could do. I think it's Jace. Pronounce his last name now. Is it Sewell? Something
Sewell,
like that.
Jay Sewell.
Yeah, we were saying Sewell incorrectly for most of the offseason, but you can tell that, he's ready to step up, but he needs a little bit of help. Just some youth there. But like you said, it was a fantastic environment, great crowd, great hospitality. Got that fried bologna sandwich, so that will be coming up on Food Review Friday. But just an outstanding time. Got to thank, both head coaches there for allowing us access, with Coach Webb on the Strom Thurmond side and Coach Bush over there at North Augusta, two of the better coaches in the state. Just look forward to what both of these programs are going to do. They're both going to be competitors when it comes to playoff time and region play right around the corner. Speaking of contenders, let's talk about Westside. They played BHP in our next game. This is a game that John was at. This one got out of hand early. We really, thought BHP would be able to hang around and withstand those first few punches, but they just could not. That Westside offense is just too much. That defense is vastly improved. I don't see anybody in 4A right now that is close to this Westside Rams bunch. And this is a BHP team. I mean, this is the number one team, in 3A. And they've got one of the best players in the state in the backfield, completely smothered him. I mean, with the Westside, offense and defense clicking on all cylinders this early, this is going to be a big time problem for anybody in the state.
They are so scary, man. The playmakers, they just have so many of them with Weaver and Bomar and Dawson and Richardson.
Evans.
I mean, dude, they're everywhere. They just have so much talent. I mean, from the opening kick, we go 90 yards to the house with a Armani Weaver kickoff return. They just jump all over BHP, a team that had beaten them 3 years in a row. They get a little revenge there, a little get back, as the kids are saying these days, Jerel there. Big win for the Rams, man. We know what Cutter Woods can do, directing that offense. And Coach Lane, with his scheme, he is going to get guys open, and he's going to get great matchups for them, and they seem to do that again on Friday night. But, yeah, I think the story of this game for me is more the defense. We know they can light it up, but holding that high-powered Bears offense to, a way under their season average there was super impressive for me. They've looked really good so far on that side of the ball, which has always been a little bit of a bugaboo, but this year it has certainly not been, man. They have been dominant in each and every ball game. I know they let that Creekside team kind of come back in the second half of that week 0 game, but dominated TL Hanna last week, dominate BHP this week. They have looked really, really good.
And I just love how Coach Lane is just riding his superstars, letting these guys play both ways, just getting after it. I mean, they are a fantastic team. They got a out-of-state border battle this week against Prince Ave, a very good team out of Georgia, that Athens area. So we'll see how they do there and see if they're able to knock off their second Georgia team of the year so far. And then BHP, they should get a little feel good this weekend. I think they play Palmetto.
They do.
Palmetto is much improved, but I don't think they're going to be any match for this Bears team. But again, that game was 55-14 in favor of the Rams. Our next game, this one was closer than we thought. Kind of kept up with the score on Friday. That was Northwestern and South Point, and another kind of rivalry match there over in that Rock Hill area, and that was a win by the Trojans, 28-14 over the Stallions. I mean, South Point seems to be a team that's kind of overlooked. Northwestern is one of the better teams, regardless of class in the state. But them hanging around in that game, only losing by 2 scores, I think that's a fantastic showing by the Stallions. But Northwestern gets the job done again.
Finley Polk, I believe, 3 touchdowns for Northwestern. Zamir Gordon-Miles got one on the ground as well. I got to talk to some contacts over there because, we talked about on the preview show this week, Jerel, that the quarterback Cam McMillan was back for South Point. But I believe they played Currents anyway on Friday night there. So I don't know if they played both or not. I got to figure out what the situation was there. But I think they need to find a way to work McMillan back in as the full-time guy if they really want to take that next step and be a real danger there. But the defense played well. 28 points against Northwestern. Hold them to that is pretty solid. They've been putting up 40+ every game so far. So definitely a good showing on that side of the ball. But it's been a bit of a trend the last couple of years for South Point. It kind of worries me is just the offense. They've always got so many athletes. You feel like they could find a way to put up more than 14. But, I know obviously Northwestern's got a really good defense too. I love what they do up front with Greer and Pickett and those guys and, Massey at linebacker and stuff. But they've got to find a way to put up a few more points, and I think they could be really competitive. But nice win, a good rivalry game there for Northwestern.
Our next game, a team that's surging and really got put on notice last week in a big win against Abbeville. They win again. This is Batesburg-Leesville. They knocked off Lower Rentland 21-7. I talked about this in the preview show, Kevin. I was kind of scared for Batesburg-Leesville coming into this game. That emotional high. They played a pretty much flawless game against Abbeville. Were they going to be able to get up again against a Lower Richland team that has been very good this year, very competitive, 2 classes ahead of them? You don't know what's going to go on, but I think they rode that home crowd. They were able to score in different ways and did just enough to come out with the victory on Friday night.
Awesome job stacking back-to-back good performances. That was certainly could have been a letdown spot there. So especially when you got a bunch of 16, 17, 18-year-olds, it's hard to get them up again, and they certainly did it and played very well. I believe Katie Witt had a big game on Friday for them. They're a team that is rolling right now. That region play, when it gets going here, is going to be super fun with them and Saluda and Strom Thurmond. Have a little round robin there. That'll be awesome to see, but looking forward to following them the rest of the season.
Our SCSA game of the week was played on Thursday this week, and that was Cardinal Newman and Ben Lip. And Cardinal Newman is able to just ride, Caleb Ford there in that running attack. They win this game 28-0. Also ride that defense, obviously pitching the shutout there. Cardinal Newman seems to be for real. Coach Elms and his bunch are peaking early in the season and hopefully riding it through.
Caleb Ford, I believe he's over 1,000 yards on the season already now, just 4 games in. He's really doing a great job running the ball there for them. That's a big win. I think they go to 2-2 now. Like we said on the preview show, they played a really tough schedule so far, a bunch of high school league teams, and getting a nice win now over a good 4A SCSA team and Coach Weigel's Ben Lip and bunch. Really impressive win there for Cardinal Newman.
Again, our games of the week presented by Kona. We had North Augusta knocking off Strom Thurmond 14-7. Westside big over BHP 55-14. Also had Northwestern defeating South Point 28-14. Batesburg-Leesville wins again. They knock off Lower Richland 21-7. And then on our SCSA game of the week, we had Cardinal Newman blanking Ben Lippin 28-0. Kevin, let's go to our HTC Hometown Connection game this week. We are so thankful for our new partner there in HTC. If you're in that area down there in Georgetown or in Marion counties, please give them a call. But this game was Marlboro County and Conway. Marlboro County, they pulled away in the second half. They're able to I think they had 23 penalties in this game. This shows even more impressive how good and talented this team is, because they were able to knock off a Conway bunch 40-16. And the Bulldogs seem to be for real, Kevin.
Corey Johnson's team is the real deal. Huge game from Justin Purvis, running and receiving there. Great win for those guys. A non-competitive game again. On the flip side, Conway, man, they got to get something figured out. Like, they've lost to 2 3A schools now. Had a tough game with a 2A school last week as well in Jerel. Coach Pierce and the boys is going to need to find some fire there and kind of get those guys back on the right track. But Marlboro County, man, can't say enough good things about what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Playmakers everywhere, Dwyer and Keenan and Blackwell and Purvis, and just guys that can get it done on both sides. And they are certainly clicking on all cylinders, it feels like right now, except for the penalties. Got to get that cleaned up. But they are playing good football.
Man, I am so excited we're getting close to region play. That region, you got them, you've got Loris, and you've got Dillon. I mean, that is going to be a lot of fun to keep up with. But also, we're excited to see what Conway's can do. Hopefully they can turn the corner. They've scheduled some tougher, lower class teams. It's not like they're getting beat by some teams that aren't very good, but hopefully Conway can get it going. But again, we want to thank our partners at HTC for our Hometown Connection game of the week this week. Let's go to a long-standing partner, and that's Hannah Engineering. Kevin, say it every week. I'm going to say it again. My favorite thing that we do here is our Pick'em contest. Our Pick'em contest games presented by Hannah Engineering. Our first one here, Greenwood and Lexington. Greenwood's able to pitch a shutout. They win it 14-0 over a hot Lexington team. Lexington's been able to win some close games this year, but they weren't able to get it done here. And Greenwood's a team maybe we need to start talking about a little bit more as we progress through the season.
This one caught me off guard. Greenwood coming off a loss to Dorman, I believe, back in week 2. Did not see them having this performance in them. Lexington had been playing such good football, beating a good Gilbert team, a good North Augusta team. Coach Curtis had them playing some tough, hard-nosed physical football, a lot of defense, a lot of running the ball, which I guess maybe played into Greenwood's hands because that's what they want to do too. Tristan Lewis does a great job there at the quarterback spot. Coach Liner is fantastic there. They have a tough offense to prepare for as well. And, I feel like they may have beat Lexington at their own game on Friday night, it sounds like.
For sure. Some pads were popping there. That was a physical football game and low scoring with that. But the next one was not low scoring. Unfortunately for Fort Dorchester, most of the scoring came from the South Florence end. That offense finally comes alive. I think I did the math correct. Through the first 3 games of this season, the Bruins had scored 50 points. They dropped 49 in this one. They knock off 4D 49-14. Fort Dorchester kind of been living on the edge these first few weeks, winning very, very tight ball games. But they got blown out from the beginning in this one.
And they did it multiple ways. I think Messiah Jackson, the quarterback, I believe had, 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Just getting it done through the air, which they usually don't do. Running game was what went well as well. I believe it was 43-0 at half. And I think they had touchdowns from 5 different guys in that first half. So really all around performance there from the Bruins. Coach Marlowe's squad, needed to look good this week, and they certainly did. Really surprised me, and just had a huge performance there against the Patriots.
I want to give a shout out to Lenora Sellers. I know he went down in that big time game against LSU. Ankle. Hopefully he heals up and is able to play next week. But it was so cool to see him streaking down the field, in SEC play after we saw him torment defenses in the PD area, just a couple of years ago. But it was cool to see that the former Bruin do that. And obviously he must have got a little encouragement from watching his Bruins play on Friday night. But that one was 49-14, South Florence over 4D. Next game, this one was played on Thursday. This was a tight one, Kev. You had Chapin and Newberry. Chapin holds on late. They win this game 42-37. We know this Newberry offense can put up some points. Had a tough loss last week against a very good Clinton team, but they did not hang their heads. They were very competitive. This is a Chapin bunch. I think they moved to 4-0 with this victory. This is a hard-fought battle. These are 2 very, very good football teams there in the Midlands.
This is a game where I think both teams impressed me. Brady Albro and crew there for Chapin continue to roll. Coach Cole, in his first year as the head coach, has got these guys 4-0 right now. Tough test next week against Somerville. I think that's on the road, too. We'll find out a lot more about them there, but yes. Big win this week. And the Newberry, you mentioned Jerel, just bouncing back from a tough loss last week to be competitive in this game, to keep it close against a school that's bigger than them. Coach Sheeter does a fantastic job there, and that team I think is poised to make some noise as well. So both teams perform well, but hats off to Chapin for getting that win.
Most definitely. Another game that we saw on Thursday up here in the upstate, that was TL Hanna and Wren. This was a fantastic football game. Got into the danger zone early. We thought that, Wren was going to be able to run away with this one, but TL Hanna just, used a big special teams play to spark them. Were able to get their offense going. Very opportunistic on defense. They were able to win this game 36-29 over the Hurricanes.
Exactly right, Jerel. I mean, we're looking there, and it's 13-0 right off the rip, and you think it's going to be all Wren. But you get, like I said, you big kickoff return there from Nance, and TL Hanna all of a sudden is right back in it. Just a crazy game, back and forth late. Wren, they get the ball back with about 4.5 minutes to go, down 7, 36-29. They drive it down, big runs from Colton Bagwell and Reese Price. Reese Price gets one from probably about the 10-yard line, is going in for the game-tying touchdown there, stripped at about the 1-yard line there. I believe the kid's name was Vance that got the strip, I think it was there. They recover it, and TL Hanna was able to get a first down and run out the clock there. Just an unreal play, not giving up. We were talking on the sideline. We think that if Wren had scored, they're probably going to go for 2 there, just to kind of try to win that ball game right out. But huge game from TL Hanna to come back and win that one. A lot of resiliency from that club. We talked to Coach Tone afterwards. He just told us, how proud he was of the guys and the way they fought that night, and certainly understand why they did that. A game where you get moved up, you're playing on a Thursday night, you got not the best conditions, a little bit of rain coming through there. You get down in a big hole early, easily could have packed it in, but they certainly did not. They kept fighting and fighting hard. And I was impressed with Wren as well, though. I thought that what they've got on offense with Bagwell and Price looked really good. Some good speed, some good playmakers there. That offense is going to be tough for them to stop. I think they can make some noise in 4A, but TL Hanna, man, comes out with the big rivalry win. It's been I think a while since Wren has beaten them, and they're able to keep that streak going on Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. It's like the previous game. We talked about being impressed with both teams. I certainly was. Hanna is another one that kind of got off the mat after losing a tough one to Westside, and, bounce back short week, down early. I can see why Coach Tone was very proud of his bunch. And then Coach Freight should be proud of his bunch, the fight that they showed as well. With Wren, again, you talked about that play at the end of the game. I'm looking at the scoreboard to get the time because I think that Reese is going in for that touchdown right there. And I definitely thought they were going to go for 2 to try to win that one. Outstanding play. The player that I was impressed with the most on the field for both teams, though, was Brandon Cunningham, the quarterback at at TL Hanna. They have got to find ways to keep the ball in his hands. Obviously, he receives all the snaps, but they got to keep the ball in his hands because he is absolutely electric. It was a fantastic football game. I'm glad that we got to see that one as well. Another fantastic football game and an epic comeback. The South Aiken Thoroughbreds. This is a type of game that can kind of, springboard their season. Can definitely see Coach Hamilton's hands in this defense, making these guys much more competitive. They beat a very good Barnwell team 31-26 in just a fantastic finish for that bunch.
A heck of a win by South Aiken. They come off a tough loss last week to North Augusta. It's an odd week again. We mentioned it with the rain and stuff. Obviously, they played on Friday. It's not much of a change there for them, but they get down. I think they may have been down 3 scores at one point there, Jerel. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. They come back and end up scoring a touchdown on a little swing pass to Javon Edwards, either as time expires or right there before the end of the ball game. After scoring and getting an onside kick, a bunch of crazy stuff happening there, man. Just a heck of a ball game. That's a spot where you could have packed it up. When you get down a couple scores to a smaller team, you're like, we just lost last week. Let's get out of here. And Coach Hamilton's bunch did not do that, and they kept fighting it. A great win by them. On the Barnwell side, I think they're still a very good football team. You just got to worry mentally, like, hey, we got to get locked back in. And I'm sure Coach Smith will do that. But a loss like that where you've obviously you don't want to say you have it in the bag, but you basically the win probability chart, Jerel, was a pretty daggum high for Barnwell. It had to be 90 plus at one point, and then to have that one go the other way, it certainly got to hurt you a little bit. But you have to get those guys focused up. We got the region play right around the corner, so you got to get back on the horse and ready to roll. I think they'll be fine. But that is a big win for South Aiken. Could be a springboard for them into region play here for sure.
Yeah, Barnwell, definitely. You got to refocus there. That's got to be tough to think you have a game won. You probably let your foot off the, gas pedal a little bit, thinking you've won this football game. But when you have Juju Edwards on the other side, it's never over. That's one of the most, complete backs and best players in the state. I know Barnwell, and they will regroup, and they will definitely learn from this, and it'll only help them going forward. But just a fantastic football game down there on Friday night. And the final pick'em contest game that we had was Sherrall and Darlington. The Braves are able to win this one 35-13, able to shut down Darlington a little bit. Again, another redemption, another bounce back here with Sherrall. They lost to Conway. They have scheduled extremely tough in the non-region. Coach Poole's bunch, I think this is going to be great for them. I think they have another tough one next week against River Bluff, but a fantastic Friday night for the Sherrall Braves.
This is a game where I thought Sherrall could win. I think I picked Sherrall in our pick'em, but man, I did not think it would be 35-13. I thought we were thinking about a really tight ball game there. They played great. Just awesome to see from the Sherrall bunch. You mentioned a tough loss this last week to Conway, to come back and they're down they're up 14-7 at half, and they put on 14 more right out of the gate there in the third quarter. Was awesome to see, to kind of put their foot down and kind of win that ball game. A game that I know there had been some chatter back and forth, like is it going to move to Thursday or not. So people were upset about that. It ends up staying on Friday, and the Braves come out with a big win. That was a nice win going up a class there and beating what we think is a pretty good Darlington team.
Most definitely. Again, our pick'em contest games were presented by Hannah Engineering. We had Greenwood over Lexington 14-0. South Lawrence all over Fort Dorchester 49-14. A tight one in the Midlands. You had Chapin defeating Newberry 42-37. TL Hanna and Wren. TL Hanna takes this one 36-29. South Aiken comes back to defeat Barnwell 31-26. And Sherrall knocks off Darlington 35-13.
At HTC, we're here to keep you connected. Here to provide reliable fiber optic internet with free, fast, and secure HTC Smart Wi-Fi. HTC, here to connect.
Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, KONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Looking now at our stock up, Jerel, we've got a good list this week. First of all, I've got Coach Robert O'Connell and the Westwood squad. They get a nice win over Airport on Friday night. Also, Goose Creek, Malik McGowan, nice win over Buford. Buford, obviously plays a tough schedule, but still a nice win there for Goose Creek in that one. And then Camden, they handled a pretty good Ridgeview team, by a few scores there. I know Jordan Gidderon was out still, but nice win for the Bulldogs. It's been impressive to me to see that they have not seen the fall off on offense I thought they might see after losing those playmakers. They look really good on that side of the ball.
Yeah, if you have got Greer, got to talk about Greer. Big time win over Burns, 18-10. This is the first time that Greer has defeated the Rebels since 2000. I think it was 16 straight losses at the hands of the boys from Duncan. That's a big time win for a Greer program that started off slow and has really gained steam. They went from getting blown out to being, very competitive and winning this week. So that's a great turnaround for that bunch. Greenwood, we mentioned them earlier. We had them winning over Lexington this week. I think they beat a really good Buford team last week. Stock up for them. And South Florida, it's a team that I had stock down last week because I was concerned about the offense. Boy, did they tell me to shut up. They put up 49 points over a very good Fort Dorchester team. So I got the Bruins stock up this week.
Hampton County, a team that I feel like just kind of lays in the weeds the last couple of years, man. But they're playing good football. A nice win over Bluffton for Coach Hannah's bunch on Friday. Sherall, we just mentioned them. The nice win over a bigger school there at Darlington. And then St. Joe's, one of the private schools up here in Greenville that I think, sometimes gets overlooked a little bit. They had a nice win over Pickens on Friday night as well.
Union County, it's just a great night for them. They come back to defeat a Blacksburg team. I think they scored, 3 times in the last 4 minutes or so of the game. That's a fantastic win for Coach Isom, his first win there at Union County. So great for him and his bunch there. Powdersville pick up their first win of the year. They knock off a very good Pendleton team. I think that game was on Thursday as well. Mm-hmm. And then the last one that I have is, can't read my own handwriting, Lamar. They knocked off a very good Lake City team. Coach Burris and his bunch. These guys' schedule so difficult non-region. So to pick up that win over a very good Lake City team, I know they've suffered a couple defeats. That's a big-time win for that program.
Fairfield Central, a team that we have not talked much about, lost a quarterback. We mentioned him earlier at South Point now. But Tidarian Greer did a great job there for Coach Davis this Friday night. They get a big win over Louisville. Nice win there for the Griffins. Richard Wynn, a big win over an previously undefeated Lawrence Academy team there. They blow those guys out. And then Williamsburg, a big win over what was probably the number 1 team in 1A at the time there in Thomas Hayward. Coach Boyd and the Stallions get a nice win on Friday night. Anybody else stock up you got, Jerel?
That is it for stock up. Let's head over to stock down.
Perfect. You want to go first or me?
I can go first. I'll start off with Cross. They've suffered some difficult few weeks here. Just can't seem to get it going offensively, especially. We expect more out of Cross. This is a team that was obviously top 10, top 5, caliber there, and just haven't been able to get it done. And then Louisville, they suffered a very difficult defeat this week. Just could not get the offense going. And it seems like when they play these bigger games, especially teams that are in bigger classes, that they seem to struggle there. So Louisville was high going in. We thought they had their quarterback situation figured out, but just couldn't put up any points this weekend.
Blacksburg, the team that lost that crazy game to Union we just talked about, just giving up that lead there. That was not a great look there for the Wildcats. Pendleton, the team that lost to Powdersville, a team that had just got moved to, I think, number 3 in the 3A or the 3A poll there. You come out and you lose by a couple scores. Not a great look there for the Bulldogs. And then Carolina Forest just got absolutely hammered by Irma. Carolina Forest, always a team that we think is pretty good, can make some noise, but they got the doors blown off by the Irma Yellow Jackets on Friday night. But I think that will do it for stock down.
I got one more.
Put it on there. Let's know.
Got to throw the Burns Rebels in there.
Ooh.
I mean, they're starting off 0-3 here, losing to a team that they have not lost to in 2.5 decades. They're going to win this weekend against Wade Hampton. But that region 2 and 5A is always one of the most difficult regions that we see. It's going to be a long season for the Rebels fans.
Well, that'll wrap up our stock up, stock down segment, Jerel. Let's take a look now at our Players of the Week brought to you by the George Agency. As always, guys, send us your recommendations on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, whatever you want to do. Get them over to us. We always say if you guys send us a recommendation, we're going to read it. They may not win the award, but we will read the stat line. We'll put it in the blog, all that good stuff. So, Jerel, let's shout out some of these Player of the Week nominees. A lot of great performances all across the state this week.
For sure. We'll start off with Javen Cook, a name that we've read off multiple times this season so far, the running back from Clinton. He has 14 carries for 156 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also have Patience Andrews of Nation Ford, had 109 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in their defeat to Richland Northeast. Malik Clark of Rock Hill had 8 catches and 147 yards and 1 touchdown. Jalen McGill of Mountain View Prep, he goes for 233 rushing yards, 65 receiving yards, and 4 total touchdowns. He is an outstanding player there. Cutter Woods, got to be the Mr. Football front runner at this point from West Side. The quarterback there had 4 TD passes. The next one we have is Javon Edwards of South Aiken, led that comeback there against Barnwell, had 227 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, also had 56 receiving yards and another touchdown. Justin Purvis of Marlboro County, 3 carries for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Talk about getting it done, Kevin. Also had 7 catches for 92 yards there. Messiah Jackson of South Florence goes 11 of 13 for 3 TD passes and a rushing touchdown in one half in their blowout victory over Fort D. We also had AJ Brand. This is tough, man. This is where it gets hard. We're shuffling through nominees. He goes 18 of 28 for 377 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Also had 6 carries for 77 and 2 more TDs, 6 touchdowns, and he was not a player of the week this week. Malik Miller, also from Irmo, had 8 catches for 160 and 2 touchdowns. Outside of him, Donovan Murph, the other receiver there, had 8 more catches for 141 and 2 more touchdowns. Amari White had 10 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown. We had Caleb Ford, stud running back there for Cardinal Newman, had 301 rushing yards and 3 TDs. Blake Patet, the Richland Northeast receiver, had 10 catches for 153 yards, 2 TDs, and a 2-point conversion. Chris Boyd of Clinton had a 20-yard TD catch, a 55-yard fumble recovery for TD. Our man Colt Bailey out of Wardlaw goes 5 of 11 for 125, 3 touchdowns. Also had 16 carries for 237 and 3 more. 8-man football, tons of space, and Colt is getting it done there. Marcus Henderson of Berkeley had 14 tackles, 1 sack, 1 TFL, and a fumble recovery for a touchdown. The fantastic wide receiver MVP, Katie Hainsworth, had 5 catches for 136 and 3 touchdowns. And last but not least is Vernon Irvin of Lamar, had 13 and a half tackles, 1 TFL, 2 forced fumbles, and a half sack.
Lots of great nominees, Jerel, but here are our 3 players of the week for week 3. Let's start with Armani Weaver at Westside. Had an 89-yard kickoff return touchdown, a 14-yard touchdown catch, and a 28-yard pick 6 in that big win over BHP. We had Jalen Singletary at Hampton County. 15 rushes, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 pick 6s for 4 touchdowns total, 2 on offense, 2 on defense. And then finally, Will Wilson of Richland Northeast, the NC State commit, 290 passing yards, 5 touchdown passes, 155 rushing yards, 3 touchdown runs, Jerel. I can't even hardly say that without laughing, man. That is just a unreal stat line from Will on Friday night. But
yeah, I mean, crazy.
Great performance from all of those guys, all the nominees as well. And once again, our 3 players of the week, we had Armani Weaver at Westside, Jalen Singletary at Hampton County, and Will Wilson at Richland Northeast. Appreciate everybody for sending us those stats across, Facebook and Twitter and email. Appreciate that. As always, appreciate the Georgia Agency for sponsoring our players of the week. Definitely send us all those each and every week, guys. We'd love to have them for you, so continue to send us those. A couple notes I've got here, Drew, before we move into the last part of the program. We have Liberty head coach Paul Sutherland picked up his 150th career win on Friday night. Actually, maybe Thursday night. I think that game was actually 150 on Thursday after Coach Sutherland. Congrats to that. And then Juju Edwards at South Aiken passed the 5,000 career rushing yard mark. Great stat there. Great career there for Juju at South Aiken. But Jerel, let's give a shout out to some more friends of the program before we wrap this show up for this weekend. The Georgia Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgiaagency.net. That's thegeorgiaagency.net. Folly Row question time, Jerel. I thought we need like a little, we need a little jingle for that.
We do.
Maybe I'll let you work on that on your downtime.
Some theme music.
There we go. But Jerel, what do we got for our Folly Row question here in week 3?
For sure. So this one's going to be a little bit fun. I'm from the upstate originally. I also grew up, moving around as a kid, a military kid, but I'm from the upstate. So unfortunately, I grew up in Greenville County, didn't get to see a lot of good football. As I've started to do this, I have been able to travel this entire state and see games just about in every corner. So I wanted to pose the question this week. This is not region specific as far as like the high school league regions. But what do you think? What region, regardless of classification, 1A through 5A, puts out the most quality football teams and football players, whether it be the upstate, the low country, the CSRA, the PD, we've got the Piedmont, you've got the Grand Strand. What do you think puts out the most quality football?
Are we doing quantity too or just quality?
You know what? Like I tell you every week, it's our show. You can do whatever you want to. This is a very subjective question.
Yeah, that's where it gets tough, man. Honestly, you look up at, I don't know what you want to call it. What do you call the Rock Hill area? What do you consider that?
I think that's the Piedmont. Would that be Piedmont?
Maybe. I don't know. That's certainly got to be one, man. 'Cause I feel like every team from up there is pretty daggum good every year. The problem, I guess, with the Midlands or even the low country, you get just a plethora of teams. So you got a lot of bad ones mixed in as well with some good ones. So it's tough to judge that. But I think just quality, just as far as like average number of good teams, or I guess what the average is of the teams, I think you probably got to look at, it might be that Rock Hill area because they don't have a ton of teams up there, but the one they do have are all pretty dang good. Northwestern, South Point, Catawba Ridge now, Indian Land now, Louisville counts in there, maybe Lancaster as well. So that would be one that you got to look at. I don't know if that's the right answer or not, but that is certainly one that I think has got a lot of quality football.
I'm so shocked that I'm going to go to your backyard.
You going to the PD?
I'm going to the PD. I think that region, man. I think they put out. Maybe I'm enthralled by like the players. I feel like so many players come from that region as well. But I think the PD super competitive. Got some great programs, man. You get Dillon,
it is.
You get Marlboro County. You even get ski football. You got your PD Academy.
True.
I mean, what are you talking about here?
That's true. Well, I guess sometimes I kind of forgot how big the PD goes. Sometimes I forgot to throw in Florence. I forgot about Florence. You get Florence.
There you go.
You got some players, man. You obviously got Dillon County, Marion County. What they do there is always impressive. You mentioned Marlboro County, a big bounce back this year, which is really nice. Hartsville as well. But yeah, Florence, that would be a good one too. PD is up there, man. Give us your thoughts. And we have a lot of CSRA listeners. I'm sure you'll throw some CSRA in there as well. So
love it, man.
Definitely let us know what y'all think, because there are a lot of great options for that question.
There's no wrong answer. That's why I like this question. You can literally go to every region and you can pick out and you can make your region shine. Like you go to the upstate, you can definitely do that. Especially, you got Cherokee, you got Spartanburg County, you got those guys over at Daniel High every year. Obviously in Anderson now, look at what they're doing. Like you said, the CSRA is crazy. The Midlands, I mean, Dutch Fork, that's all you got to say there in the Midlands is Dutch Fork. Low country, you got those sleeping giants waking back up, and Somerville and Berkeley. So it's so much fun. But yeah, like Kevin said, tell us your opinion. But that's our Folly Row question this week.
Yeah, lots of great football all across the state, and we've been lucky to see a lot of that over the last couple of years. I do want to give a shout out to our friends at Wren and our friends at Strom Thurmond as well. Wren on Thursday night got to see Coach Yarborough, Coach Frey, Coach Perdomo. Talked to Coach Toner at the game as well. Great to see those folks. Our buddy Blake, who does the broadcast there for Wren, they do a fantastic job. Great to see him as well. Then Strom Thurmond on Friday night, we got to see Coach Webb and Coach Horton there, and then obviously Coach Bush and all those guys, Coach Quinn as well. Our friend Reese Lowe there, our friend Cam. Lots of great folks at both those stops that definitely wanted to give a shout out to in the program.
Got to see Kyle, who does a fantastic job there in the media as well with the Aiken Standard. So just so much fun, to see people, across the state that we don't always get to see. We've seen run into Kyle twice this year, so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Lots of great folks. Coach Bell at TL Hanna, the AD as well.
And give a shout out to Uncle Brian as well.
Coach Thomas there in North Augusta. Yeah, got to talk to him too for quite a bit. That was a lot of fun on Friday, getting to see him and talk some ball. But it's really cool to see the relationships that we have made doing this now for a few years, Jerel, how many folks that, want to say hello to us, and we want to say hello to them too. Like, and we want to talk to them and catch up, see what's going on in their life. So really cool to kind of keep getting to do that over the last couple of years. So definitely shout out to everybody who lets us come to their games and talks to us and whatnot. But if you guys don't follow us on social media, please do so. And when I say this, please follow us on all platforms. I know you follow us maybe on Facebook, maybe on Twitter, but everything that we do doesn't go on just those two. We do some stuff on YouTube as well, stuff on Instagram. We have some different content that comes out across different platforms. Definitely check us out on all of those. So follow us everywhere at Movin Chains. TikTok as well, MOVINCHAINS, movinchains.com is our website. And then our podcast, of course, is on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Please join us on Tuesday for our weekly preview show. We break down the biggest games in the state and also the whole statewide schedule. It's a lot of fun, about 7:15 on Facebook and YouTube there. We do our teams of the week, games of the week, pick them, coach interviews, all kinds of great stuff throughout the week. So definitely check us out. Don't just tune in on Sundays. Don't just tune in on Tuesdays. Try to follow us each and every day and just see what the boys are up to. We got a lot of great stuff coming, Jerel. Some more interviews coming up soon, too. I think that'll be a lot of fun for you guys to listen to. Order your MTC merch, get your hats, your T-shirts, your toboggans, your hoodies. It's about to get a little bit chilly out there. We've been experiencing a little bit of colder weather lately. I think not this week, Jerel, maybe last Friday night, I got a little bit cold on the sideline there late in that ball game.
That doesn't take much for you.
I'm very cold nature. We'll say that.
It's under 75 and you're chilly, so that doesn't
We'll say that. But yeah, get your guys' stuff. If you want to get cold, check us out, mtcgear.sc@gmail.com. If you want to email us some questions about it, you can check it out on Facebook and Twitter as well. Definitely order that stuff from us. Jerel, any other thoughts on week 3 before we wrap up here for the weekend?
Again, I know the weather wreaked havoc. I know it's difficult for a lot of these ADs and coaches and things like that. Communities, every game we went to, people showed up, showed out. So it was a lot of fun. Glad we were able to get those games in. Hope the weather didn't affect too many people in a negative way. Like Kevin mentioned, follow on all platforms, especially YouTube. I will say this, I'm going to beat the drum. YouTube for us is lagging behind. We're trying to grow that channel as well. So be sure to do that. And just excited about this. We're going into region play here shortly. I mean, for the most part, a lot of these bigger regions are starting this week. Get the last, little few weeks of buys. So these games are really starting to count now as we move into that. And then also, you forgot to tease it. We got the poll coming out this week. So
that's true.
We'll
Great point.
Dropping that on Tuesday. You get to see your Moving the Chains poll. We're finally going to get our rankings out. And, we'll see what John does to mess up the ring. I'm just kidding. I was going to
say, I'm excited about this because, usually, like, I wouldn't say trash is the right word, but we disagree strongly with some of these other polls that come out. So
sure,
can't wait to see how much I disagree with you and John when our own poll comes out here this week. So we'll have to see how that shakes out, man. But I do like to say, and, we do give these other polls a tough time, and I don't want to beat our own drum too much and whatnot, but I feel like that we do quite a bit of research. I'm not saying that nobody else does. I'm not saying that, but I feel like that we don't. One thing that we have going for us, Jerel, I think, is that we are not specific to a certain geography. Sure. We're not beholden to just watching these 4 teams in these 2 counties. Like we keep up with the whole state, and I think that's one thing that gives us maybe an advantage over some other folks. So I like to think that we do a pretty good job with that stuff.
Yeah, we just missed the team, in 4A that was in our backyard the whole year last year. So that was
nobody saw that come out. I don't feel bad for that, Joe. I don't feel bad for that. Nobody saw it coming.
But guess what, West Side fans? We won't this year because they're going to be the unanimous number 1. So go ahead and be prepared for that on Tuesday.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what.
They'll be the unanimous number 1. So go ahead and expect that.
I love it. Well, Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. For Jerel Hendricks, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 3 Folly Row recap show. We will catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.